Shalom Uvracha. The time of Sukkos, the Sukkos festival, is a time of tremendous joy. The Torah says, "Vayisa ach sameach." During Sukkos, your joy shall be pure, undiluted. We say in the davening, "Zman simchasenu." It's the time of our joy. And the simple understanding of this tremendous joy of Sukkos is because the time is the Chag HaOsif, the time of gathering the produce from the fields into our homes, into the storehouses. And this, of course, is a cause for great joy. It's the joy of experiencing the blessing, the divine bounty that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us throughout the year, which focuses on the gathering, the Chag HaOsif. But on the other hand, while Sukkot is a Chag HaOsif, Sukkot is also a time when we recall the journey, that we journeyed in the wilderness, in the desert, and God provided for us by enabling us either through the booths, the simple Sukkot, according to one opinion, or by means of the Ananei HaKavod, the clouds of glory that paved our way to journey safely through the wilderness. And why is this a cause for such elation, for such jubilation? Why is this a part of Zman Simchasenu, and how indeed does it go together with the Chag HaOsif, with the time of gathering in the produce? What's the connection between the Sukkos, whether it's Sukkot Mamash, the booths that we lived in, or the Ananei HaKavod, and on the other hand, the gathering of the produce into our homes? How do these things go together? But I think the very simple answer to this is that this time of year is on the one hand called Tzeis Hashana. It's the end of the previous year, when we gather in the produce, the end of the agricultural cycle. But on the other hand, it's also called Tkufas Hashana, the beginning of the new year, the beginning of the new agricultural cycle. And as we gather in the produce from the fields into our homes, even though this provides us with tremendous joy, but there's something niggling there. There's something that could distract us from the purity, from the undiluted joy of gathering in the produce, and that's the worry, the concern for what's going to happen next year. Because even though right now we have plenty, and God gave us a year of bounty and a year of blessing, but we don't know what's going to happen in the coming year. Maybe next year the rains will be delayed. Maybe next year the blessing will not be so bountiful, will not be so successful. Maybe we'll have a coronavirus year. Who knows what might happen the next year? We cannot tell. And though we hope, we certainly hope for the best, but we know that there are circumstances that are entirely outside of our control. So even though we can plow as best as we can, and we can sow the fields, but after that, a lot is not up to us. It's up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's up to circumstances that are not in our control. And therefore, our joy is somehow tarnished. It's not complete. We enjoy what we have for the present, but we worry about the future. The only way in which our joy can be complete is when we have trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Trust in our Father, our King, who we know is looking out for our best interest, who we know has both the absolute power, control over those circumstances, and we also know that He loves us and that we have a close and intimate relationship with Him. The combination of both of these, the Chag HaOsif on the one hand, the gathering of the produce now, and the trust in Hashem on the other, that's what enables us to have absolute simcha, to have complete joy. And that's what the Ramchal writes. The Ramchal, in a very short work called Ma'amar al Kivoy, it's a work that focuses on hope, on the idea of hope. The Ramchal writes, somebody that has true hope in Hashem, he can be truly happy, because any initiative, when you begin it, you only start with hope. Without hope, if you don't hope for the best, then you wouldn't start it. But if you have hope in Hashem, if you turn your hope towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then you can have true joy, because you know that the entity, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to whom we express our hope, both has ultimate control and has ultimate love for us, for His people and for each one of us individually. And that's how we can reach this special state of V'hayisa ach sameach. You shall be purely joyful, undiluted joy. On the one hand, Chag Asif, and on the other, remembering the Kiva Sukkos, Hoshafti es Bnei Yisrael, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us through the wilderness, through the desert, whether it's with the clouds of glory or whether it's in the simple booths, doesn't make a difference. He took care of us. He made sure that as we journeyed, all of our needs and our desires were catered for. And this dovetails very beautifully with an idea expressed by the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon asked the simple question, why do we commemorate Sukkos specifically at this time of year, which is in Tishrei? Surely the right time to commemorate our journey through the wilderness should be in Nisan, at the same time as Pesach, which is when we entered the desert and we needed the clouds of glory and we needed the simple booths. And says the Gra, there's something special about the timing of Sukkot, that it represents the forgiveness, the realization of God's atonement for the Chet HaEgel. When we sinned with the sin of the golden calf, then we lost the clouds of glory. And those clouds of glory returned to us, says the Gra. He makes the calculation of why it took several days, but they returned to us on the festival of Sukkot, meaning we celebrate the relationship with Hashem. We celebrate the ultimate realization of that relationship. And that relationship, in its full realization, has both of these components. The joy for what you have, and the gratitude, of course, that you express towards Hashem. And on the other side, on the other hand, the hope for the future, the prayer for better times, the prayer for good times in the year ahead. And both of those elements come together with the return of the Anani HaKavod, with a full realization of the depth of relationship between Hashem and the Jewish people. And it's with this insight, it's with this realization in mind that we leave the homes, we leave the comfort of our regular abodes, and we leave into the sukkah, where we feel tangibly the trust, the closeness, the intimacy with Hashem. All of our lives, every aspect of our life, of our everyday life, whether it's eating or sleeping or drinking or enjoying the company of friends or being with family, everything we do in the sukkah, we do in the presence of Hashem, outside of the physical comforts that sometimes can be a draw, that sometimes can take us away or can distance us from that closeness, from that constant awareness of Hashem's presence. We enter the sukkah, and we're reminded constantly by the schach above our heads that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is guarding us and watching us and cares about us. And halavai that we should take this idea, this insight, this simple insight of Chag HaSukkos, which is a time of such incredible joy, a time of such incredible unity of the Jewish people, when we leave those partitions that sometimes divide us and we're able to enjoy the experience of closeness to Hashem together, one as all. Halavai that this time should be a true time of joy, a true time of redemption, and we should all be zeicher to a Chag Sameach and a Geula Krova b'mhera b'yameinu.